yourself. Remember your first time? Everything was so new, so challenging.
Who invented the first practical airplane?
So exciting.
You're doing very well.
Now imagine having that feeling every day.
ZDTV, amaze yourself. Just imagine being linked to a source of information, to a global internet adventure. Just imagine clarity in a world of chaos. Now, there's a new television network, ZDTV, your home for entertainment, explaining the power of computers and the internet, creating a world of possibilities. ZDTV, amaze yourself.
We're back with Linus Torvalds, the godfather of the Linux operating system. Good God, we've installed, and actually not without difficulty, I might add. It isn't the easiest thing in the world, although many people say it's very easy. We've installed Linux version 5.1 Red Hat distribution, which is a commercial distribution. How much does Red Hat charge for their?
I think it's like $49.95.
They're all very cheap.
You can actually get it for less.
You could download it for free off the internet.
Yes.
And you said when we went to the break that you should get one of the commercial distributions?
You really don't want to download it.
It's big.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
All the pieces are all there, and if, for example, you're at a university and you have a fast internet connection, sure, go ahead, download it. You can actually install it off the net. So
that's an amazing thing. I've done that, by the way. You launch the installer and it does the rest of it.
So what you do, you actually download only the core system, and off you go, and it's great.
Let's take a little bit of a look at it. You've got the you've got what looks like a Unix shell running here.
Well, especially me, I'm a old-time Unix user, which means that I actually like having a shell.
This is a command line interface that looks just like DOS users will recognize, certainly.
You don't actually have to use it, but
you also have in the background running, is this X Windows?
This is X Windows. It's actually the X Windows system, as it's technically really called.
Pardon me.
It's it's the standard Unix GUI.
Well, show us for people who, now remember, most people have not used Unix who are watching this.
Right.
Most of them are Windows users or Mac users. For those of us who are Windows and Mac users, show us the commonalities, show us what's different, show us what we can do with Linux. For instance, is there an Office suite?
There is an Office suite.
There's actually quite a few Office suites. We have one here from Applix.
The one we've installed.
Which one do you have on here?
Applixware. This is Applix.
All right.
And it's your average Office suite. It's not
word processor, spreadsheet, database.
I've never used it, but I think there is one there. The only part I actually use is the presentation manager, which just makes slides. It doesn't look very pretty because we have too few colors.
But you know what? If you've used any graphical operating system, this is very familiar. Yeah. File, edit, view, the menus are similar.
It's exactly the same. It looks just like
icons.
PowerPoint to me.
Well, it obviously is doing exactly the same thing as PowerPoint, and
which means I'm not hurting for lack of it.
You really don't have to take advantage of Linux. If you just want to use it the same way as Windows, you can kind of get Applixware or any of the other Office suites, and you use it as Windows.
One of the real advantages that Linux has over Windows is it will run very well on a 386 or a 486 on older hardware. It runs surprisingly well, whereas Windows really wants a penny badly.
That's true. I mean, I personally refuse to use anything less than a Pentium because
you're just a snob, aren't you,
I'm
Linus?
a snob, yeah.
We've got a call for Linus Torvalds, the creator, the godfather, if you will, of the Linux operating system. Jose from Las Vegas. Hey, Jose.
Hey, you want Linux on Windows 95 and Stu? I don't know, can you run it side by side?
Like a dual boot system? Could I run a Windows 95 and a Linux system?
Sure.
Is there a boot manager in Linux?
There's actually a boot manager which comes with Linux.
Yeah, we had this question a couple of days ago. Multiple ones.
Yeah, the normal one is called Lilo, just for Linux loader. And you can tell Lilo to boot any number of operating systems like plain DOS, Windows, Windows NT, Linux. SCO Unix if you want to.
We should. That would be a weird combination.
That answer would be yes,
Thanks, Jose. I appreciate the call. We should mention that this probably is not for the non-technical person. I mean, you should pretty much know what you're doing before you assay
you
this.
at least should know what you want to do, because especially if you're used to Windows and DOS, there's going to be a learning curve.
Right.
I personally think that Linux is actually easier than both Windows and DOS because there are rules, there's a philosophy to how things work. But once somebody has used Windows and DOS for 5 years, they don't care about rules, they don't care about philosophy. They want the system they're used to, and this isn't it.
Yeah.
Well, but it will give them some kind of GUI, English graphic user interface, computing with pictures, right? That is some level of comfort. I mean, it's not...
There is, especially lately, there's become a lot of level of comfort because there are people who want to use Linux for other reasons and still want to feel reasonably comfortable with it, even though they come from a DOS and Windows.
Hence the similarity to PowerPoint, for instance, here.
Actually, this Applixware has been around forever.
Yeah. We should mention that if you're hesitant because of the tech support issue, that major PC magazine recently said that Linux was the product of the year for tech support.
Wow.
And that's because of the community that's developed around Linux. There are... Tell me about that. What's happened? Are these fans? What is going on?
There are fans, but there's also a lot of users, and there's kind of, for historical reasons, everything is very internet-oriented. So you have your news groups that act as support. You have mailing lists for technical issues. You can essentially get a lot of information through the internet.
Do you have a favorite website? I go to linux.org. Is that one of the ones you like?
I think linux.org is one of the better ones. Okay. It's certainly worth looking at.
It's linux.org on the World Wide Web, of course.
And Red Hat has its own website, as do most of the other CD-ROM distributions.
Yeah, it really is an amazing community that has formed around Linux.
It is. And I mean, for big companies, let's say that some really big company wants support for their product. Yes, they will get it from commercial vendors. I mean, Microsoft will support big companies, but if you're like a home user or a university or whatever, and you don't have billions and billions of dollars to convince people to support you, you really prefer to have internet support because it's so much better.
What's your vision of the future for Linux? Would you like it to become like Microsoft Windows, an operating system that is used by millions and millions of people? And
well, my ego wants it to be the most popular OS, obviously, right? What I'd really wish for is that we wouldn't have this imbalance where Microsoft just has this, I mean, people call them the 500-pound gorilla, just because they have such a big advantage in the marketplace by being 95% of the desktop. And that's not true in any other environment. I mean, when you buy a car, there isn't the one car maker.
That's right. That's right. Choice is very important. You've got to have that.
And in that sense, I actually think that the most sane setup would be that you have 3-4 operating systems, of which Linux would be, now I'm saying it myself, Linux would be just one of them.
And how about interoperability? Is that a priority for Linux? And by that I mean the ability to exchange data files, the ability to work together. Yes. Because obviously in a world where Microsoft Windows dominates, well, we all work together fine. But if you're going to have a vision of 4 different OSs, you're going to have them all work together well.
Yeah, certainly interoperability has been important even from the very beginning of Linux. At first,
you have to coexist in a world of that.
Right. The smaller you are, the more important it is for you. Right. So it's not perfect at this point, but I think that networking actually makes it a lot easier.
Right. The internet has made a big difference.
Right, because once you start networking, you aren't interoperating on the basis of a file. You're more interoperating on the basis of the network protocol. Right. And that's actually been standardized for a long time. And that's actually been standardizing around Unix because Unix has been so strong in networking.
Linus Torvalds, the inventor of Linux and the father, but of course, like any good child that's gone out and has a life of its own, that's just quite remarkable. Linus, we thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Born and raised in Finland, of course, but living in the States right now. You plan to stay for a little longer?
Yeah, I moved here a year and a half ago. Oh. And I'm very happy living in Silicon Valley.
We're showing Red Hat, the Red Hat distribution of Linux. This is Red Hat 5.1, one of many distributions of the operating system. You could find out more about Linux by going to the website www.linux.org or our own website, www.zdtv.com/thescreensavers. He was a great guy. You know, we after the interview, I had dinner with him, and what a great pleasure to meet Linus Torvalds. We're going to talk more about Linux in just a bit. Harry in the chat room mentioned, he said one of the great things about Linux, the reason people like it, is Microsoft is kind of taking the fun out of it, the community out of it. Linux is giving us a chance to all get together and make something together, and that's what's great. We're going to show you a little bit more Linux command line time. Get ready. All right, in just a bit. But first, here's a V-mail from Era and Megan on the NetCam Network. Danbury, Connecticut. Take it away, guys.
Greetings, will be right back. Don't touch that dial.